Hi everyone, welcome back. My name is Daisy Daniel. I'm a personal resilience life coach, and I come every Monday and Thursday to do a reading and reflection from the book The Language of Letting Go. I'm out here at a beautiful park, but I just heard thunder down over there, so hopefully it won't catch me before the time I'm done, because this is special. Anyway, if I do need to cut it short, I will. Not a big deal. I hope you all are having a great day. If you have not been on my website, please do. It's www.mymomentlc.com. Stands for Life Coaching. And I am a coach to women and children. So check out what I do. All right, we're going to get started. And this is always impromptu. I never know what I'm going to read. The only thing I know is the title. And I want it to be a casual time. You guys could comment, even on the replay. But there's no pressure. This is just a time to grow, help with your personal development, and communicate more about important topics if you are interested. So we are going to begin. Today we are on page 131, and the topic is self-love. And I love this topic. Here we go. Self-love. I woke up this morning and I had a hard time for a while, said one recovering man. Then I realized it was because I wasn't liking myself very much. Recovering people often say, I just don't like myself. When will I start liking myself? The answer is, start now. We can learn to be gentle, loving, and nurturing with ourselves. Of all the recovery behaviors we're striving to attain, loving ourselves may be the most difficult and the most important. Writing some little notes here so I don't forget. If we are habitually harsh and critical toward ourselves, learning to be gentle with ourselves may require dedicated effort. But what a valuable venture! By not liking ourselves, we may be perpetuating the discounting, neglect, or abuse we received in childhood from the important people in our lives. We didn't like what happened then, but find ourselves copying those who mistreated us by treating ourselves poorly. We can stop the pattern. We can begin giving ourselves the loving, respectful treatment we deserve. Instead of criticizing ourselves, we can tell ourselves we performed well enough. We can wake up in the morning and tell ourselves we deserve a good day. We can make a commitment to take good care of ourselves throughout the day. We can recognize that we're deserving of love. We can do loving things for ourselves. We can love other people and let them love us. Ooh, you hear the thunder out there? Exciting. Next page, I'm on page 132. People who truly love themselves do not become destructively self-centered. They do not abuse others. I can't talk today. They cannot abuse others. They do not stop growing and changing. People who love themselves well learn to love others well too. They continually grow into healthier people, learning that their love was appropriately placed. And here's her prayer at the end. Today I will love myself. If I get caught in the old pattern of not liking myself, I will find a way to get out. All right, I love this one. This is a sensitive topic with a lot of Christians because when you go through a 12-step program or when you go through ACOA, Adult Children of Alcoholics, a big theme in all of those 12-step programs is to love yourself. And in the Christian faith, there are many people, many Christians who believe that, hey Stephen, believe that it is selfish to love yourself. That, you know, God wants us to suffer for Christ and not love ourselves. And I think that is such false teaching, because not only is the greatest commandment to love others, there are other verses that say love others as you love yourself, which means you cannot possibly love others if you don't love yourself. If you don't like yourself, you mistreat yourself, you say bad things about yourself, you think bad thoughts about yourself, you can't possibly love others. And not just that, if we use Jesus as our example and how he loved us, how he died for us, how he's given his life for the church, the bride, right? And that is symbolic of marriage, supposed to be anyway. That is what it is. And when we look at the dedication that Jesus has towards us, we need to have that same dedication towards ourselves. We are his created, his beloved, and created in his image. So when we put ourselves down and we don't love ourselves, we don't care about ourselves, we mistreat ourselves, we abuse ourselves, which is very easy to do when you've been in abusive relationships. It's all you know. It's the pattern you know. When you've been raised in dysfunction or have been in abusive relationships, all you know is how to mistreat yourself, because that is how you were treated. You were not given the example of the type of love that God has for us, you know. In marriage, like I said, is supposed to be symbolic of the bride. The church is the bride and God is the groom. And, you know, in some marriages that is just a joke, you know, really, it's just a joke. And I would really love to interview some people who have really amazing marriages, because it just seems to me from talking to so many people that there really aren't that many healthy marriages out there. At least I'm not aware of many of them. And I would love to have a playlist on my YouTube where I actually interview Christians who have very good marriages. If you qualify for that, not perfect, because there is no perfect marriage, obviously, but you would rate yourself, you know, like a 9 or a 10 in your marriage, even an 8, 9, or 10. Please connect with me on my website, because I really would love to see some miracles in my lifetime, see some healthy marriages, not just for role modeling, but to give people hope out there. You know, it just seems like there aren't many, and I'm sure there has to be. Not everyone is dysfunctional. So let's keep going here. We're going to go ahead and start at the beginning. And she started off by saying that we can learn to be gentle, loving, and nurturing with ourselves. Beautiful words. Gentle, loving, and nurturing with ourselves. And that is very spiritual, guys. That is very important to do. That's not being selfish. That is being responsible with the person God gave you to take care of and to train and to learn. And nurturing, that's a beautiful word. When you think about a parent that nurtures their child, you know, they are always there looking for their best and taking care of them. We have to do that for ourselves, not just in our mind, but our body, you know, the food we eat, how we treat ourselves, how we let others treat ourselves, I think is also very important. And to stand up for ourselves. We have that right to do that, to defend ourselves. Then she goes on to say, of all the recovery behaviors we're striving to attain, loving ourselves may be the most difficult and the most important. I really believe that. You know, people who are recovering from dysfunction, recovering from all kinds of addictions, they have such a hard time loving themselves. And especially those people who have been in abusive relationships, because everything gets turned around in an abusive relationship. you hear a lot that you're selfish. You hear a lot that you're crazy. You hear a lot that you don't love people. And so all that gets screwed up in your head. And if you're selfish, you don't love people, then, you know, self-love is like the last thing you want to do, because that would be selfish. But you have to realize that that's spiritual abuse, you know. When you read the Bible and you see the whole picture, and you sense the Spirit of God and how He treats His children, if you're in an abusive relationship, spiritually abusive, that's not how God treats us. And, you know, there are many religious people out there that you know, just take verses out and make it mean what they want it to mean and just hound you over the head with them. And you can't love yourself. You know, when you're in a relationship like that, it's very difficult. I've been divorced now for 3 years, and I'm still 7 years out from separation and divorce, still trying to recover from many things, not just from my marriage, but my childhood, and also the present, you know, because with divorce comes a whole slew of other issues and problems, and it seems like the trauma just never ends. It just keeps going and going and going when there's dysfunctional relationships and there's no way of healing, because it takes two people to heal a relationship. All right, then she goes on to say, it's the most difficult to love yourself, but most important. So keep that in mind, that it is important. When you feel guilty, showing love to yourself and actually treating yourself good, just remind yourself, it is important to do that. I was yesterday at AAA because I'm planning a road trip, and I told the lady that I was very concerned about driving in the mountains. The mountains are not my favorite place to drive. I have certain experiences with that from the past that are like triggers for me, and I shared that fear with her, and she was so kind. She prepared this whole package for me. When I came back to pick up the package, she wanted me to be in a SUV. She wanted to make sure I felt safe, that I was in a vehicle that would take me up the mountains and the terrain where I'm going to be at. And for a moment, I felt like I don't deserve that. You know, give me a cheap car. You know, funds are tight. Give me a cheap car. And then I heard myself thinking that, and I thought, no, you deserve that and more, you know? Even if you want to drive up in a huge Mercedes SUV, you know, you deserve that, Daisy. And so these are constant thoughts, I think, that plague us and attack us, and they're not true. A stranger felt more value for me at the time than I did for myself. That's sad. And I'm a life coach. But many times, you know, coaches are very good at helping others, but not the best at helping themselves. That's why I'm forever learning and being as real and as open as I can with everyone. All right. Wow, there's a lot of action here today with dogs and people. Woo, interesting. All right, then, let's see. We're going to learn to be gentle with ourselves, and it may require dedicated effort. Yes, it is dedicated effort. I know I have to constantly be reminding myself of that. By not liking ourselves, we may be perpetuating and discounting the neglect or abuse we received in childhood from the important people in our life. And I would add, not just in childhood, but in adulthood too. Many people end up in abusive relationships and dysfunctional relationships, and those are traumas as well. And, you know, no one could tell me that those relationships don't affect you or your mind, how you perceive things, how you behave. It sure does. And it's up to me to recover from that. And it starts by loving myself all the time. It says, we can stop the pattern. I believe that. Absolutely. We could begin giving ourselves the loving, respectful treatment we deserved. Instead of criticizing ourselves, we can tell ourselves we performed well enough. And, you know, I have a very good friend, and he reminds me often how sometimes I speak negative of myself. I always have higher expectations, higher expectations, always, of myself. And he's like, dude, you're fine. You're doing great. You know, stop having all these high expectations for yourself. And he's right. I have to learn to tone it down a little bit. Instead of criticizing ourselves, we could tell ourselves we performed well enough. We could wake up in the morning and tell ourselves we deserve a good day. We should not expect pain every day. Emotional pain, physical pain, just a bad day. That shouldn't be an expectation. If it happens, you know, life happens. But we shouldn't be expecting it. We can make a commitment to take good care of ourselves throughout the day. We can recognize that we're deserving of love. We can do loving things for ourselves. We can love other people and let them love us. All right, so what? Ooh. You know what that is? That's the horn that there's lightning close by. So, I am a person under authority. I respect those in authority over me. And right now I am at a public park doing this Facebook Live. So I'm going to wrap it up really quick. If you have comments, leave it for me and I will respond to them later. Let me wrap it up really quick. We can make a commitment to take good care of ourselves throughout the day. Think of ways where you can show yourself love, which is respect as well. Show yourself love throughout the day. What are loving things you could do for yourself? Think about it. Hey, seeing some friends there. You know what I started doing, which is really weird? I know it's weird. It's very weird, but I love it. When I start thinking about, you know, loving myself, I started actually just like kissing my arm, you know, like, I'm proud of you, Daisy. You know, just kissing my arm. And it actually made me feel good. Kind of weird, but whatever. Hey, whatever works for you. We can love other people and let them love us. People who truly love themselves do not become destructively self-centered. Yeah, that's the thing. In the Christian faith, they make it look like it's a sin for you to love yourself, that it's selfish or blah, blah, blah. But if God tells us to love others the way we love ourselves, to take care of our body, no man has ever hated his body, the Bible says. You're not supposed to hate yourself. It is unnatural. And so when you love yourself the right way, with self-respect, you are not going to become destructively self-centered. Because I know that's what many Christians are afraid of. Oh, I'll get proud, or I'll be selfish. No. You know, the Christians I know, they are so loving and great people. You know, why are we always putting ourselves down? I don't get it. They do not abuse they do not abuse others. That is true. When you think about the people who truly love themselves, they don't go around hurting others. They don't go around abusing others. They have a healthy love for themselves. And that's what we need to have. They do not stop growing and changing. That is so true. When you love yourself, you know that God expects you to keep growing in wisdom and knowledge. Two things, not just wisdom. Because a lot of Christians stop at wisdom and say, you know, God wants you to be wise. Oh, yes, but he also wants you to grow in knowledge, which means doing the hard work of learning different things, you know. Retirement is not in the Bible. And so we're supposed to continually be growing up until the day we die. It's a beautiful thing. And then it ends by saying they continually grow into healthier people, learning that their love was appropriately placed. And that's the key, healthier. We're going to be healthier when we learn to love ourselves. Here's her prayer at the end. Today I will love myself. If I get caught in the old pattern of not liking myself, I will find a way to get out. And I will tell you that any of the 12-step programs, I highly recommend. They're free support groups. You could attend any of them, and you will find like-minded people that will help you. You will hear others that go through the same thing you do, and they are big proponents of loving yourself. All right, guys, since that horn blew, and I'm not sure what's going on, I don't hear lightning, there's no rain or anything, but like I said, I'm going to obey authority and get out of here. So thank you all for joining me. Join me on Monday. Let's see what the topic is going to be on Monday. Boundaries. Woohoo! Leave me a comment if you wish, and I will reply to them later. God bless you all. Bye.